In the nucleus of most cells in our bodies, we have 23 pairs of chromosomes. Let me just arrange these into pairs. Each pair is made up of a chromosome from your mum and a chromosome from your dad. The chromosomes come from the nuclei of the sperm and egg cell that fuse together during fertilization. Each sex cell contains 23 chromosomes. The cell that is formed and all human body cells contain 23 pairs or 46 chromosomes. There are some key terms that you need to understand before we go any further. Alleles are different versions of a particular gene, and most of the time there are 2 alleles of each gene. The appearance of an organism is called its phenotype. These are characteristics produced by its alleles. The genotype is the genetic makeup of an organism, which is a note of all of the alleles that are present on the chromosomes. An allele is either dominant or recessive. Even if there is just a single copy of the dominant allele in the genotype, then it will be expressed in the phenotype. Only if there is no dominant allele in an organism's genotype will the recessive allele be seen in its phenotype.
Okay, a lot to take in. Let's take a look at some examples of inheritance. I can roll my tongue. This means that if tongue rolling is controlled by a single gene, then I must have the tongue rolling allele of that gene. But how could this phenotype be inherited? Mum, Dad, I think I'll need your help here.
I inherited 2 alleles for tongue rolling, one from my mum and one from my dad. The tongue rolling allele is the dominant version. We represent this using a capital letter, in this case a capital T. The recessive allele we represent using a lowercase or small letter, in this case a small t. My mum cannot roll her tongue. Can you work out what her genotype must be? Yeah, it's 2 lowercase or small letter t's. This is because she has 2 copies of the recessive allele. When you have 2 copies of the same allele, this is known as homozygous. In my mum's case, she is homozygous for the recessive allele. My dad can roll his tongue. This means he is either homozygous for the dominant allele, or he could also be heterozygous, meaning he has 1 copy of the dominant allele and 1 copy of the recessive allele. But we don't know which, so let's just assume that it's homozygous dominant, represented as 2 capital letter T's. So, this must mean that I inherited a dominant allele from my dad. It also means that I inherited a recessive allele from my mum because she can't roll her tongue, but I can. And so can my dad. So, this means that I am heterozygous in terms of my genotype. I will be represented using a capital T to represent the dominant allele and a lowercase t to represent the recessive allele.
We can show the inheritance of one gene called monohybrid inheritance in a genetic diagram called a Punnett square. In your GCSE, you need to be able to interpret genetic diagrams, explain what's going on in them, and also be able to make them yourself.
We can use genetic diagrams to show the possible combinations of genes of potential offspring and calculate the probability of a certain genotype or phenotype occurring.